Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Scott Cooper, and on behalf of Speedway Motorsports, it is my pleasure to thank everyone here in the room, as well as our audience that is joining us online, for a very historic day that has been a long time coming, as we announce the return of at-track events to historic North Wilkesboro Speedway. Our stage guests today are on my far right, Steve Swift. He's the Speedway Motorsports Senior Vice President of Operations and Development. To my immediate right, Barry Braun, the CEO of XR Events. And in the middle, our President and CEO for Speedway Motorsports, Marcus Smith. Now, before we share today's news, let me quickly recap a little bit about how we got here. Last year, Charlotte Motor Speedway General Manager Greg Walter and several Wilkes County community advocates, led by State Representative Jeffrey Elmore, began working to obtain federal funds through the American Rescue Plan to renovate North Wilkesboro Speedway. Local groups, including regional firefighters, business volunteers, and community advocates, cleaned up much of the property. They removed debris, they removed brush, they tore down dilapidated structures. The state budget was then approved in November with $18 million earmarked for infrastructure improvements at North Wilkesboro Speedway. Then in January, at the 75th membership celebration for the Wilkes County Chamber of Commerce, Marcus shared the Speedway Motorsports vision for the historic facility. As you can see in these renderings, it's a restoration of the facility to a nostalgic but safe and modern venue to host racing, concerts, and special events, something that could once again become a centerpiece for the entire region to support business, tourism, and entertainment. Now, many of the people responsible for getting this project this far are with us here today at Bristol Motor Speedway. I'd like to please welcome our special guests from Wilkes County, the State Representative of North Carolina's 94th District, Jeffrey Elmore, and his wife, Laura. Jeffrey, where are you? There you go. Good to see you here today, Jeffrey. Keith Elmore and Eddie Settle, representing the Wilkes County Commission. Wilkes County Manager John Yates. Wilkesboro Town Manager Ken Noland, North Wilkesboro Town Manager Wilson Hooper. Wilson, you there? Linda Cheek, the President of the Wilkes Chamber of Commerce. Stephen Wilson is here from the Save the Speedway Foundation. Ronald Queen, our Operations Director at the Speedway. And lastly, but perhaps the strongest advocate for revitalizing the Speedway, the widow of NASCAR legend Benny Parsons, Wilkes County Film Commissioner Terry Parsons. Terry, so good to see you here today. Now, we'd also like to send our thoughts and prayers to former North Wilkesboro Mayor Robert Johnson. He was planning to join us today, but became ill this week. We know he is at home and tuning in. So, Robert, we are thinking about you and hope you get better soon. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to Marcus for today's news announcement.
Thank you, Scott. And, I just want to say again how thankful I am to all the leadership here from Wilkes County. And you represent the people of Wilkes County and really all of Western North Carolina so well. And I know without you, we wouldn't be here talking about this today. So thanks again. And I also want to say a big thanks to all the people, all the race fans who have said, for years and years and years that they wanted to see racing happen again at North Wilkesboro Speedway. It's the passion of racing fans is amazing and so inspiring, and it's just really good for America. I think it's a fantastic thing to see, and it's with that really we took the energy to be able to get to where we are today. I also want to say a big thanks to Dale Earnhardt Jr., who asked me about cleaning up the track back in December of 2019, just for the purpose of cleaning it up for iRacing. And I think that really was the catalyst that put things over the tipping point to get us where we are today. So big thanks to Dale and all the people that he talks with. We've shared the vision. I've seen some of the pretty pictures that we've been sharing around online and with people locally about North Wilkesboro Speedway and the restoration and the modernization, or resto-mod, if you will, to bring the Speedway to a place where it can be enjoyed as a revived property, but also enjoyed as a historical property. We're really excited about that, and with the help of the state and local officials from Wilkes County, we'll be able to put some of those funds from the American Restoration Plan to work, hopefully later this year. But before we do that, I've said a couple of times that we're going to be racing at North Wilkesboro Speedway sooner than you think. And today we're here to announce that we're going to be racing at North Wilkesboro Speedway this year, starting in August and again in October. And we're going to be doing that with the help of our partner Barry Braun, CEO of Racing XR Events, and someone who we've partnered with for a few years in Las Vegas, here at Bristol and Charlotte. This is going to be a racetrack revival, and it's going to be an amazing time where we race first on the asphalt and then on dirt at North Wilkesboro Speedway. And I think it's going to be something that race fans and drivers are not going to want to miss. So with that, Barry, will you tell us a little bit more about the opportunity?
Well, Marcus, first of all, an incredible opportunity that we get to be a part of this. Two people that I want to point out as we start this discussion is Nason Gray and Kevin Camper, who have been huge advocates of us for a decade. We started out as a little streaming company, and it's built into a number of massive, huge events now, which has turned us into quite the company. So to them, and to my wife, Jenny, we don't do this without her blessing. Next month, May 18, will mark 75 years since North Wilkesboro was built. It's been over a decade since we've had racing there, and we've discussed ideas. We went back and forth. Steve Swift. We've had a lot of discussions about this track, and what's important to the track. It used to be dirt, but it's been pavement. And what is extremely important to us, more so than anything, is the integrity of North Wilkesboro. So we'll run asphalt first in August. That was my biggest question when we had these discussions. Could we do it? Could we do it with the track the way it sits? When they told me that we could, now we're not pavement guys historically, but we're going to be. So we're going to run a month of asphalt racing, pavement racing in August. And what that means, we're just not running on the weekends. We're running all month. We'll do practice on Monday and Tuesday for a certain class. We'll race on Tuesday, Wednesday. We'll come back on Thursday, practice, and then race on Friday, Saturday. We're going to take Sunday off if we need it. If it's necessary for weather, we'll use it. What's important about the dirt side is it's not just we're going to throw dirt on top of the old asphalt. We're actually going to take the old asphalt off. We're going to race on the original dirt at North Wilkesboro. That started as a dirt track. It's been 66 years since we've raced on dirt at North Wilkesboro. So we'll bring in, again, it's going to be the same thing in October where we race all month. Multiple classes all month long. Again, I want to point out, and this is one thing that I learned in visiting the facility, talking to Ronald, integrity is extremely important for this facility. Now, outside of cleaning it up and getting it ready to race, that's what we're there to do. I want people to, when they walk into this facility, to get the same vibe that I got when I came in. This track is full of a lot of soul. It is incredible. The feeling is unlike any other. So we're going to keep that in place. Everything is done from branding to everything at the track with attention to detail, ticket pricing, everything about North Wilkesboro and what it's been. I've got a chance to even meet the folks here right beforehand, and I can tell we're on the same page. And it is extremely important to me to get this track ready when we're done in October. Steve and his team take over and they get it ready for the next era. But we want to celebrate 75 years of North Wilkesboro. We want to celebrate pavement racing and dirt racing, and then we go to the next phase.
So Barry, with this grassroots racing return to North Wilkesboro Speedway, you're also going to be very conscious about other regional racetracks and things that are taking place in those same time frames. Can you elaborate on that some?
So we've done a tremendous amount of research. There is a tremendous amount of local tracks within the state of North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, Tennessee, and we're going to do our very best so we do not schedule on top of them if we can help it. We've done that research. We built the schedule, which you can go to racetrackrevival.com and you can see the schedule right now. But it may not be perfect, but we're going to do a lot of work really fast. We're going to have a lot of discussions with sanctioning bodies and, local tracks. What I want to do more so than anything is support what they're doing, which in turn hopefully will support North Wilkesboro and gets it to the next era.
Good. All right. Thank you very much, Barry. Now, Steve, I know you've already been keeping Ronald pretty busy. I think he's about to get busier. Why don't you give our group a quick update on where the facility is right now?
Yeah, so naturally Wilkesboro has set for a long time without any activities, and Barry has seen that, and Ronald and the team that they've put together in Wilkes County with all the volunteers have really done a great job of cleaning it up. From what it looks like today to what it looked like 3 months ago is two different racetracks. But it's aged. The track's aged. It's got a lot of cracks in the track, and make sure we can run for a month on the original asphalt. We've got some things we've got to do there to take care of the asphalt to hold on to that preservation and get through a month of asphalt racing. A few structures need to be continued to demo out of Ronald's expertise, so to speak. He's a little bit higher than probably what he can reach with the stuff he's been working with, but they've done a fantastic job of really, if you've not seen it in a while, just cleaning the facility up. There was a lot of weeds that had grown up and trees and whatnot, and it looks totally different. It's really exciting to see it because you really see that historical state of that racetrack in place. So a little bit of cleanup to do, a little bit of asphalt maintenance to take care of the track, a few track repair wall areas that we've got to take care of to make it safe for racing in August, and we'll be ready to go to see Barry's show in August.
Good. Now, Steve, talk about that again, that show in August from a fan perspective. Obviously, the restoration will not be anywhere near complete. That's somewhere in the future down the road as we get those federal funds and work toward that project. But what can a fan expect if they happen to buy a GA ticket and they're walking into North Wilkesboro in August?
To speak on what Barry had mentioned about the integrity of the track and the history that's there, really just see it in its state that it was when it was last ran. So we're really taking a minimum place to go into to look at, so it looks like old Wilkesboro. It feels like old Wilkesboro. Seats look and are the same seats that were set in 20 years ago, 30 years ago, and just cleaning it up and keeping it safe to where it's not, there are some hazards naturally that happen when things sit, but to really feel the old paint, the old Winston paint, the old things that make Wilkesboro what Wilkesboro were with the red and white Winston red that was everywhere, those things will still be in place. So really just preserving history the best we can and not really taking anything out of the extreme to put new in for this race this year.
All right. And then looking ahead to next year, once we get through things, we'll spec out what the repave would be, et cetera, and look at that, looking ahead to 2023.
Correct, yes. And naturally, after the October events, we'll open the next phase of what Wilkesboro is going to be. And again, still holding on to that history and really, as you saw in the rendered views, playing up what that historical value and the integrity of what Wilkesboro is and maintaining that with the new build.
All right. So grassroots racing returning to North Wilkesboro Speedway in August and October. Competitors can actually visit northwilkesborospeedway.com as early as today to start registering for the Racetrack Revival. As for tickets, we have a list of about 2,500 people who purchased souvenirs and signed up to join the movement, get put on an email list at that website. Those fans will have the first opportunity to buy tickets in a pre-sale starting at 9 a.m. on Monday through a special email offer. Then public on-sale tickets will take place starting at 9 a.m. on Tuesday of this week, again, at northwilkesborospeedway.com. And if you want to get really excited really fast, this is the first ever racetrack revival at North Wilkesboro t-shirt, and courtesy of our friends at SMI Properties, this will actually be on sale this afternoon and tomorrow at some of our souvenir stands here at Bristol Motor Speedway. So that being said, we've got a couple of minutes for some quick questions. I think we've got a couple of mic runners here. If you have a question, please raise your hand, and we'll get somebody to you. All right. Okay. When we start, please, let's start here with Mike. Please state your name and your media affiliation. Thank you.
Mike Hembry from Auto Week. Marcus, this obviously brings up a lot of questions. Do you see Wilkesboro being a part of one or more of the three major NASCAR series at some point? And what about the last time we were there, the getting into the track and out of the track on the roadways there was not especially easy. Is part of the plan some kind of buildup of the infrastructure going in and out?
Great question, Mike. I think, every big event has a traffic jam, so I don't anticipate that we will be without a traffic jam on race time when we go back to North Wilkesboro. We are interested in improving the roadways, the ingress, egress, if you will, for fans coming in and out of the track. So that's part of really the first phase of the renovations and the restoration. Coming up this August, it's going to be really a lot as it is. And as Steve was talking, it reminded me about, if you're in the classic cars that are unrestored and original are really some of the most prized classic cars. And I think that's, what we're trying to capture, as Steve said, some of the essence of the Speedway, the DNA of the Speedway that's there now is what's been there for 75 years. And I think this is a great opportunity for race fans to be able to experience that again coming up in August and October. As far as going forward, what races there? We're really excited about racing with Barry and his team at XR Events. I think there's going to be a lot of classes that will give lots of racers from all over the country. I wouldn't doubt if we have some international drivers that want to come in and compete at the historic North Wilkesboro track. Going forward, I think that it would be a perfect place for the NASCAR Truck Series to go and enjoy the classic track in a great setting in Wilkes County.
Okay, let's come here.
Sedegger kicking the tires. Marcus, you mentioned Dale Jr. was a catalyst for helping get all of this off the ground. How much did him and the track's addition to iRacing help boost the popularity for the track for a new generation?
I think that iRacing is a fantastic kind of new development in the racing world. It's been maybe 15 years to an overnight success for iRacing. So it's not really all that new, but it certainly has exploded over the last couple of years. And Dale Jr.'s involvement in it was particularly helpful just when he had the idea to scan it into the system, and then we talked about that on his podcast, and that really ramped things up. But there was a lot of support. Race fans, the Save the Speedway effort, and local officials, just everybody has had a tremendous interest in the potential revival of North Wilkesboro Speedway for quite some time.
Okay, let's go with Bob.
Bob Parker's Fox Sports 2 for Marcus. First, when would the repave be complete? Like, would you be able to race on it in 2023? And then why not Xfinity and why not Cup? Why wouldn't North Wilkesboro be the perfect place for those series?
Yeah. As far as the pavement being ready, I doubt it. I mean, we could if we had to, but we'll be working on We've already started working on the schedule for next year, so we'll see if what we get done for next year. We still have to have all of the details and the loops closed up on the actual funding from the ARP fund. So there's a lot of details to close up. That's why this opportunity to work with Barry and his team on this year's races before we start the project is particularly exciting. And why not Cup and Xfinity? I think that the infrastructure there, the size of the facility is just not what we would put on the schedule for Cup and Xfinity at this time.
Alex?
Thanks so much. Alex Andreev with the Charlotte Observer. For Marcus also, would the schedule for these events be conducive to allowing, Xfinity or Cup or Truck Series NASCAR drivers to participate in some of the events in August or October?
It's a great question. I think yes. Barry mentioned when you look at August and October and you've got a full month of racing, there are lots of dates on the calendar. We anticipate that there'll be some professional drivers that will come in from the bigger series like Cup, Xfinity, and Truck. And like I said, I wouldn't be surprised to see racers come in from around the world.
Would Dale Earnhardt be one of the Junior be one of them?
Maybe. I don't know. He's got a short track team. He's got some cars. Yeah, who knows? Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, let's go to Mark.
Mark Garrow, PRN. Marcus, were you surprised at all by the underneath the surface support there was in Wilkes County that was just waiting to be sort of tapped into or to be given notice and they were ready to roll and try to make this happen?
Well, I got to say, I was so impressed with all of the support from Wilkes County. I had a chance to go up to an event with the Convention and Visitors Bureau. Am I saying that right? Is it Convention and Visitors Bureau?
Chamber.
The Chamber.
Yeah.
It was the Wilkes Chamber event just a couple of months ago, and the turnout was amazing. The food was great too. Thank you very much. The entertainment was fantastic, and so I wasn't surprised. I was just really impressed with everything that's happening in and around Wilkes County. It's just really fantastic. So I think, for me, I just thought what an awesome opportunity this is to revive this historic landmark and such a jewel in Western North Carolina. And I think that's why Governor Cooper is supporting this initiative as well in North Carolina, because he sees the jewel that North Wilkesboro Speedway is for Western North Carolina.
Okay, let's go to Jordan, and then we'll go up to the press box with a question.
Jordan Bianchi, The Athletic. Marcus, have you spoken to NASCAR about a Truck Series race and what steps you would need to take to get a race there? And then I have a follow-up.
I haven't. Have you talked to NASCAR about that, Steve?
We've been really keeping it secret until right now. So today's the outbreak day. We can start having conversations. Yeah.
We're just we're not there yet. So we're definitely excited and focused about being able to race this year, and feel like that's it's way beyond our expectations. I didn't think we'd be racing there until 23 at the earliest, maybe 24. But thanks to Barry and Steve and our crew, kind of the can-do spirit has come through, and we're able to deliver some fantastic historical racing events for fans this year.
Looking at the timeline, what do you think would be the earliest that North Wilkesboro could host a NASCAR National Series race?
I think conservatively we should say 24. That would maybe be fast on a lot of people's timeline, but it's hard to say. Yeah, there's a lot to do. We have great pictures to show you on the screen, but pictures are just the beginning. There's a lot of work that has to be done between, now and then.
And to give a little additional clarity to something that was mentioned earlier, the American Rescue Fund is federal money, which still has to work its way down to the state, and then it has to come through the county before it can be allocated for some of these projects. So at the earliest, some of those monies may be available by early summer. That's the latest update that we have. So obviously, to reach what the vision is, and that's the goal, it's going to take a little while for us to get there. So, certainly would want that vision to be fulfilled before we could bring a NASCAR truck race there and have those discussions. Let's go up to the press box for one last question from Lee, and then we'll wrap it up.
Thank you, Lee Spencer, RacingBoys.com. Just curious, Marcus, has there been any progress on the Nashville Fairgrounds?
Thank you, Lee. Yes, we continue to work on the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway project. I want to say a big thanks to Jerry Caldwell and his team here, and all the work we've done there. Jerry and Steve and Julie and a number of others have made, I don't know how many trips between Bristol and Nashville. We had a meeting recently again with Mayor Cooper to talk further about the project. We've got a few more details to cover, but progress is certainly slower than I think anybody would like, but we are making progress.
Okay. I did miss Matt. Let's get to one last question here. Yeah.
Matt Weaver, Racing America. This is for really all of you guys. But whether for the pavement races in August or the dirt races in October, will that be entirely sanctioned in-house, or are you guys talking to other sanctioning bodies, whether on the pavement side or the dirt side?
So we've had to keep it under wraps. So there hasn't been any discussions yet, but the floor is open. So if it would work out, absolutely. It's just one event at a time in a number of events throughout each month. So yes, if there's interest there from sanctioning bodies, we certainly would talk to them. And I'm sure the floodgates will open now. So we'll have to work extremely fast, but we'll get it done.
Okay. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to conclude our news announcement today. Again, we'd like to thank all of our guests on the stage, especially our guests coming from Wilkes County. Thank you very much. Glad to have you here. And hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend at Bristol Motor Speedway. Thank you all.